In much of the world today is International Workers' Day. In Ottawa, it presented an opportunity for hundreds of people to protest, furious over the government's plan to cut nearly 20,000 public service positions. It was also a day that members of the Occupy movement from right across the country brought back their message of protest. The CBC's Laurie Graham has been watching all the action from Ottawa. Laurie.
People rallied across the country today, Peter, showing their frustration, even anger at the government and its policies. Here in Ottawa, it was public servants who took over a busy downtown street. Normally discreet, they waved union flags, chanted openly. And for the first time since the cuts began, many spoke out.
We're fighting for jobs, we're fighting against the cuts, we're fighting against injustice, and all we want is respect.
We want to keep our job, and the public service is important to the general public, to the taxpayer.
The real issue.
They stood outside the Prime Minister's office and directed their anger squarely at Stephen Harper.
He has to change his mind. He's destroying the country. He's destroying the service that people need.
More than 12,000 public servants so far have been notified their jobs could be cut. Reason enough for people to spread out across the country and for the Occupy movement to be revived. At this rally in Toronto, the occupiers were joined by a number of different groups who wanted to send various messages to the Harper government.
What I'm trying to do is send a message out, basically to try to get some government involved into job creation through innovation.
We've seen a slew of attacks on immigrants and refugees across this country, and we are here today to oppose it.
Some protesters focused on local issues.
11 of our special education teachers are being cut next year.
In Halifax, the Occupy movement was out in full force, also taking advantage of May Day protests, keeping up their fight against government and big business.
We are dealing with what I'll call austerity capitalism, and that is the current ideology of our governments and our employers.
Not so, says the man in charge of the public service cuts.
We are a government that is focused on creating more private sector jobs in our economy, more economic growth. We have a fair and reasonable and sustainable plan.
It seems some protesters have a plan too.
You can't have a conversation with 7 billion people with one microphone. The internet allows that easily. It just hasn't been organized that way yet.
Yet being the key word, Peter. This day of action may have been sparked by International Workers' Day, but the Occupy movement says it's back and it's not going away. Other protesters say they aren't either.
Laurie Graham in Ottawa tonight. Thanks, Laurie.